Check the chat briefly. Okay. Greetings, brothers and sisters. My name is Brother John Hargrove, Service President for UNIA-ACL Division 421 here in Atlanta. Tonight is February 4th, 2025. What time is it? About 8:10 p.m. Session 13 of our officers training. Tonight we're going over lesson. This title is wrong, so I think we're on session 14. We're reading lesson 13 tonight, the universe, and we're going over questions from lesson 12 titled The Purpose of Institution. So very, very important lesson in regards to the officers training, what we're doing, and why we are doing it. As always, we start with our pledge. So everyone would please repeat after me. We'll open up with our pledge. I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and security of the red, black, and green.
I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and the security of the red, black, and green.
I dedicate my life to the redemption of Mother Africa and the liberation of her scattered black children.
I dedicate my life to the redemption of Mother Africa and the liberation of her scattered black children.
I accept for myself and my descendants the teachings of universal African nationalism.
I accept for myself and my descendants the teachings of the universal African nationalism.
And I promise that our children will be instilled with the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people.
And I promise that our children will be instilled with the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people.
In order that the cause of our struggle will neither falter nor fail.
In order that the cause of our struggle will neither falter nor fail.
Until all Black people are free and united.
Until all Black people are free and united.
Through one God.
Through one God.
One aim.
One aim.
One destiny.
One destiny.
Grace first.
Grace first.
Thank you, Dr. Kuda. Okay. Any questions before we get into our quiz for lesson 12? Any questions, concerns, comments? Okay. Okay. And anybody listening in new? This is officers training document produced by Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Message to the People, Course of African Philosophy. In the text, it's described as the last political will and testament of Mr. Garvey. This is the training that Mr. Garvey put together for a cadre of leaders to carry on the work after Mr. Garvey's death. So those that have been here for weeks and weeks, you already know, but for those that may not know what we're doing, why we're doing it, where this information is coming from, this is the closest thing to a book that the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey ever wrote. Okay, question 1, and try to answer them from memory first before we go to the text. And this one's not even in the text, the first one. The question is, what previous lessons does the lesson Purpose of Institution build upon? And this is subjective. It's kind of what our opinion is. So as we read the Purpose of Institutions, what previous lessons should we have a mastery of as we understand lesson 12? Go ahead, Dr. Kuda. This can probably be a back and forth tonight.
I'm not quite sure if I understand the question quite clearly, but I know that We need to master lessons 1 to lesson 7 before we can do anything in the social system or in diplomacy or in the economy or in institutions.
Yes, that's general, as I've said before. We kind of want to have a good foundation. But I'm speaking more specifically as we talk about the lesson, as we read the lesson, the purpose of institutions. In our opinion, what previous lessons were foundational for lesson 12? If you had to, what lesson, if you had to guess one, two lessons, what would you say is important to understand for the lesson 12, purpose of institution?
Definitely leadership.
Leadership.
Leadership. Yeah.
Why you say leadership?
Because in order to run an institution, you need to have good leadership skills.
Very
You
true.
got to understand leadership.
Very true. I can agree with that. Anyone else, or is just going to be me and Dr. Kuda speaking tonight?
Let's say instruction.
Instruction?
Yeah, instruction, institutions, like lessons where you actually learn.
Yeah, but these out of the previous lessons that we've gone over,
The purpose of institutions is not for instruction.
it is, but what I'm asking is, we're reading lesson 12. Which previous lessons 1 through 11 would we say help us better understand the purpose or build into the purpose of institutions?
Oh, the previous lesson.
So, man, economy, diplomacy, social system, character, Christ, God, elocution, aims, leadership, intelligence, education, universal knowledge, and how to get it. Okay, all right. We spend a lot of time. Like I said, this is subjective. There's no right or wrong. My Some of the things that I pulled out. Lesson 8, social system, how society is an organization of mankind. Lesson 11 is the subcomponents of a society, man itself. And then when we get into lesson 12, um, organized society is always a mass of people, and how the next question talks about the specific purpose of institutions and how they help society, but understanding, society and the components of society, in my opinion, help me better understand the purpose of institutions. Um, and that'll make more sense with the second question. What are institutions for? Now we're getting into the book. According to Mr. Garvey, lesson titled Purpose of Institutions. I think he very clearly says it in the beginning and knocks that out. What are institutions for? Nobody. Don't have anything. If somebody would ask what are institutions for,
I guess this would be the instructions answer.
institutions are for instruction.
Hmm.
What is the goal of the instruction? What are we trying to achieve through instruction?
It depends on the instruction. Whatever discipline you learn, and that's the end goal to become proficient in that.
And how does Mr. Garvey articulate that? Okay.
As far as, well, hell, the whole, what exactly? Because the entire lesson is the purpose of instruction. So what exactly are you looking for?
What does Mr. Garvey say is in the beginning? How does he describe the purpose of institutions? What are they designed or created for?
Yeah, because there's different kinds of institutions in society, but each institution has a particular function, whether
Yes.
it's the church, college, or university, school, hospital, academy, chamber of commerce, fraternity, trade union, etc.
Get
That's what
into
I'm
the
saying.
type of
So
institutions.
yeah, so more precise. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to narrow down what you're looking for because each institution has a specific purpose.
Yes.
So, which, yeah, what are you trying to pinpoint out of this lesson?
Okay. We're gonna go back to the lesson. Give me 1 second. It's too
You know,
fast.
to promote a higher life and accomplish the most out of an organized society.
Organized society is where it is. It's in regards to the particular purpose or
Yeah,
particular.
because these institutions, except in so far as they would go to help him to promote a higher life and in accomplishing the most out of this organized society.
It's in the very first paragraph.
Organized society is always a mass of people, and as such can do anything explicit
Cannot
about
do
detail
anything.
by themselves. But
Cannot
yeah, that's the
do.
first organizing the institutions to do the particular work that cannot be done by the masses as a whole.
That's it right there.
Yeah, that's what I just said. For a particular, whatever you going to school for, or whatever institution you're going for, that's the particular function that is the purpose of.
Maybe I misunderstood how you said it. Uh,
Yeah, that's what I said. You did. That's why I said what institution. Because if you go to a medical college, it's for something in the medical field. That's what I'm saying. That whatever institution that you're going to, whatever that's the purpose that it serves.
so what would we say again if someone say what is the purpose of institutions?
Now, it's held to further society,
It's to I would say to do particular work of the society, but
and that's in advancing society, right?
um
That's the whole. That's the whole R&D. If you're researching and development to advance society,
well uh I guess in a general sense, yes, but I could also argue that not all institutions are created for the advancement of society. That's why I
or
would,
the advancement of their own agenda.
yeah, but that's why I think phrasing it as just to do the particular work that society desires. That was it. He follows up here. You know, there are different kinds of institutions, as you were saying. Oh shoot, got a block. There are different kinds of institutions in a society, but each institution has its particular function. And that's kind of where we wanted to stop is institution is created to serve a particular function of a society. Does that make sense? Does that not make sense?
A particular function in society, and that goes back to the particular institution that serves the purpose. So it's all specialized, basically, what it boils down to. Each institution is specialized in one facet of society.
Yes, the specific institution is specialized, but the concept of institutions is general.
So what's the purpose of institutions?
To do the particular work of the society that cannot be done by the masses as a whole. Yes. Hence the organizing of institutions.
Yeah, but there's still people, each individual institution serves a purpose. So in all, everybody is contributing to, all the masses are included in some kind of way. Whether you go into church or work or school, or hospital, like I said, Chamber of Commerce, fraternity, trade union, that covers everybody, period. So everybody is contributing as a whole.
Yes, but you missing society would be the whole, institution would be the particular work, or the particular body that is doing that work for the society. So not everyone in the society is a police officer, but the police officer is an institution for the entire society. Not every, uh, participant may be a part of the school, but the school may be an institution that benefits the entire society. So society would be general, but and the concept of institutions is general, but what the institution does becomes particular. But before we get into the particulars of each institution, um, we should understand that the general purpose of an institution, no matter what that institution is to do particular work that cannot be done by masses as a whole. There must be a specialized group to do this specialized work for the society. That's the communication. We good, Brother Malik?
No, but go ahead.
You said no.
No, we ain't going to see eye to eye on this. So basically, just cog in the wheel.
You
It's
have you
spinning
see a
cogs to
different.
make the wheel go. So I'm standing on that. The society as a whole contributes. It's all individual institutions that actually contribute. Like the 50 states create a United States.
Yes,
So that's what I'm standing on.
but the
But
state.
we could keep it moving, so we won't hold up the call. We're already 30 minutes in.
But we would acknowledge that the state is separate, a separate specific entity from the nation. No,
And like I said, it goes back to the saying it can't be done as by the masses as a whole, but it actually is because everybody contributes to the whole. So it's still including all the masses.
are you saying you disagree with the first paragraph?
It's
Hence the organize of institutions to do the particular work, and you believe that work can be done by the masses as a whole.
organized society is always a mass of people, and as such, cannot do anything explicit or by detail by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you getting at?
The general masses aren't, all of the masses aren't doing the particular work. And that's why you have to,
What is the particular work?
such as firefighting, such as police, such as healthcare.
No, everybody serves a purpose. And in turn, it is a collective effort to make society move forward. So either way it goes, the masses are involved. Everybody serves a purpose.
Okay, okay.
Organized society. That's how you organize society. Make it civilized, giving everybody a detailed job. Like
Yes,
is that
but
what you're saying?
I know, but even that mentality of organizing society is only going to come from a small group of people. Everybody's not going to have that same mentality, and that group would in turn develop an institution. That's what's trying to be communicated.
Right, because people like to be led. Without direction, the people will just wither. So as leaders, it can't be a it just can't be, a group of leaders by themselves, because who are they leading besides each other? And building, I mean, but they're organizing and building, but they're organizing and building for the people so they can, find their ways to organize and grow. It's like a village, like a village thing. So it's like once you organize, then people will follow. You build it, they'll come. So you don't need that many people. An inventor is only one person. Anybody comes with one idea, because God gives that what's for you is for you. So you build on what's for you, and then the people will help build on that. Then they get inspiration and they build, and it just, it goes from there. So you just have to be that inspiration to inspire the people. If that's your calling, as leaders, that's what we should do.
The
Right.
the society is us when we come together. That is us forming a society. But when it comes to what needs to be done within that society, that's when we're now talking about institutions. When we talk about programs for the youth, that's it. We're talking about an institution. When we're talking about programs for healthcare, those are institutions that benefit the society. But not everyone in society is going to be a part of creating those institutions. That's we will proceed institutions to do the particular work or function, according to Mr. Garvey, that cannot be done by the masses as a whole. That's the purpose of, or what institutions are for. And then we got examples of institutions, which we touched on.
We have institutions like the Black Cross Nurse is a building institution. The Motor Corps is an institution. Institution is a place where you go to be institutionalized to learn a different way, a different routine, a different way to function. So the UNIA gives different institutions, from each member, like schools and all that good stuff.
Yes, yes. And more so, I was speaking of more so general society. So schools, um, what else what are considered institutions?
Hospitals,
Hospitals.
health organizations like different health facilities, um, um, real estate groups, real estate learning groups, private schools, etc.
Yes, okay. So second paragraph, Mr. Garvey, in his time, he lists what was popular. Let me get my different kinds of institutions in society, but each institution has its particular function. Whether it be church, college, or university, school, hospital, academy, chamber of commerce, fraternity, trade union, literary club, sports club, athletic club, gymnasium, YMCA, or YWCA. So these are examples of institutions within a society.
Yeah,
Questions?
Utopia Success Group on the way. Just
First. Okay, got examples. Why does Mr. Garvey say that it is necessary for the Negro to pay close attention to developing the appreciation for institutional life? Why does Mr. Garvey encourage us to develop an appreciation for institutional life? Nobody? You don't have our books tonight.
hold on, President. I'm gonna ask for you.
Gotta have our tools when we on the battlefield.
Okay. It is necessary for the Negro to pay close attention to developing. Okay. In our present civilization, no society would be considered functioning properly if such institutions did not exist. It is not okay. Sorry, it is not necessary or binding that. Hold on.
Jumping around.
Basically, he was saying, I was trying to read it like how you want it, like what he say, but he say we should pay close attention to it so we can learn how to like how we could do it and do it better.
And why is that important? Sister Ebony? Sister Ebony, you there? Anybody have any context to that paragraph? And why is it important for us to develop the appreciation for institutional life?
I didn't hear what you asked.
Based on this, why is it important for us to develop the appreciation for institutional life? What does that have to do with our long-term goals and strategies in the UNIA?
It wouldn't be functioning properly.
In a sense, we are, what is the UNIA? Anybody remember from the preamble? Okay. One second.
Can I answer the first question?
I'm sorry, that was my bad.
1 second, Sister Rodney, Brother Art, been patient. Go ahead, Brother Art.
It is through the institutions of a race that the civilization and culture of the race are built.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me share. We are Universal Negro Improvement Association, social friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, constructive, and expansive society. We are a society. We are developing a society. Mr. Garvey makes the point that in order for a society to function properly, based on his analysis, he feels that institutions and the appreciation for institutional life is required. And if we are striving to build a society, are we also striving to build institutions? I think that's the connection that we should be making, and that's the importance of this training. Is this is an institution that Mr. Garvey left that we are working to continue. So, institutions. If we want a society, properly functioning society, we should have institutions. Are we clear?
If when you think about it, President, institutions come naturally, whether they're like have a name or whether they're, you know what I'm saying? Like just for instance, in Ghana and Accra, they have it to where they have like community feedings, you know what I mean, in the morning. That's institutional, feeding the people, like having somewhere for people to come and eat, people to come and socialize and things like that. Having to where the children are coming to have fun and hang out with each other with us with adult supervisions while the other adults are, doing other things. That's institutional. Anything where it's a gathering to learn and to prosper as a community is institutional. So I mean, it's all about how you wanted to organize and put the institutions in your society. But I think as humans, it's natural that we always come together and we always build things together, especially when we're all just together. Race first.
Next first. Thank you. Thanks, Sister Ryman. I didn't have an answer to that one. Okay. Next question is very straightforward. How should Negro institutions be modeled, according to Mr. Garvey? What does that mean? What does he mean by that? What was he saying?
He is justified in remodeling and reshaping the things to suit himself.
And why is that? What's the intentions for that? Okay. All right, we're gonna go back to the text. Um, Basically, we're trying to figure out how to model these institutions that are required to benefit society. How does the UNIA design our institutions? And as Attorney Motep said, I think he alluded to, from the Negro point of view, is basically how Mr. Garvey says it. He says it's not necessary or binding that he copies completely methods or manners of these institutions, except insofar that they would go to help him to promote a higher life and accomplishing the most of this organized society. It is incumbent upon him that he also have and control his own institutions based on his own culture and civilized idealism. As for instance, he may have his own church, but it is not necessary. As for instance, he may have his own church, but it's not necessary for him to adopt the particular articles of faith of the churches of alien races. So, just because we may have been trained or brought up under alien institutions, doesn't mean that we model our institutions as such. The Negro is not a Hebrew, therefore he would not adopt the Hebrew faith. He is not by origin a Roman Catholic nor Anglican, because these faiths or religions were founded by white men with an idea of their own. In this religious philosophy, the Negro may safely adopt articles of faith to link him to the Godhead of the Christian faith and practice such as the particular religion, and so likewise with all other institutions. His universities, colleges, and schools may engage in the same process of education. So we can study math, science, geology, algebra, music, or whatever, but with an adopted curriculum necessary for the benefit of the Negro. His clubs, academies, and unions should be modeled in the same way, with the absolute objective of obtaining the end that is particularly desired by the race. Lastly, the Negro should never completely surrender himself to the institutional life of other people. Otherwise, he will not be original, but purely and merely a copyist. If this could be appreciated, it shows or reveals the wide fields which have remained untouched for Negro organization and Negro activity. But we must model our institutions specifically for our own benefit. Any questions on that? Modeled with the absolute objective of obtaining the particular end that is desired by the race. Why should the Negro never completely surrender himself to the institutional life of other people? I think we just read that. He will not be original, he will be a copyist. And then someone answered this. I think, Brother Art, you had answered this. How are civilizations and culture of other races built? Anybody? Anybody get?
Institutions.
Through institutions, yes. Through racial institutions. So we know the purpose of institutions. We know some examples of institutions. We know how to model our institutions. Um, and Mr. Garvey makes that connection. If we want to build civilization and culture, um, we should be building institutions for that specific purpose. Questions, comments so far? Okay, so let's go back to not building our own institutions and relying on other people to build institutions for us. What does it mean to live on the achievement of other races, according to Mr. Garvey? Buddy?
Okay, to live on the achievements of others is to really admit the superiority of others and the inferiority of self.
Sure. You want to continue? I think that was the main point, but I guess you can go ahead and finish out that paragraph.
As a fact, it is by such comparison that the Negro is judged as an inferior being. Nothing that is handed to the Negro by somebody else should be satisfactory to the Negro.
You should seek to surround.
Sufficiently satisfactory to the Negro.
And the last line.
He should seek to surround it with originality and then claim it as his own. He should seek to surround it with originality and then claim it as his own.
Any questions or comments on that? Very clear, very straightforward. For us not to establish our own institutions and rely upon the institutions of others, according to Mr. Garvey, is an admission of superiority of their institutions and an inferiority of our own. Any questions before we proceed? Okay. Okay. Next question. Why are we Black people justified in remodeling and reshaping institutions to fit ourselves? Why are Black people justified in remodeling and reshaping institutions to fit ourselves?
Because there is nothing new under the sun.
And
Whatever other people have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Continue, please.
The Negro is the father of civilization. He constructed the first government in Africa and thereby taught others the way.
Thank you, Attorney Motep. The Negro is the father of civilization, constructed the first government in Africa, thereby taught others the way, nothing new under the sun. But at the end of the day, we were the first to civilize, the first to create institutions. So for us to recreate institutions for our own benefit, Mr. Garvey gives us that right. And at the end of the day, one thing we should take away from this is we have no excuse not to build our own institutions and model our own institutions specifically for our benefit. Even if there are other institutions created or founded by others, we have the right to remodel them for ourselves. So, any questions or comments so far? I know this is a tough lesson. This is a responsibility lesson. But yes, this is direct call to what we should be doing and what we have we failed to do in the past, but we won't fail in the future. Next question, when is the Negro not living the proper life in accordance with the purpose for which nature made him? When is the Negro not living the proper life in accordance with the purpose for which nature made him? When are we not living our proper life, according to Mr. Garvey, in regards to institutions?
When he is not following God and heaven's example.
Yes. Let me see. Hold on. Let me read that again. What does that mean? Make sure I got this right. Oh, so following in God's example, the answer is, what is it? There's no reason why the Negro should not have his. Um, we were not, we believe we create our own institutions and we have that ability. We have that intelligence, and we can do that. And we are the best because, as I don't know if we've talked about it yet, but Mr. Garvey will say, um, I think it's a self initiative. Um, we should speak and we should allow others to speak for themselves because they know best. Um, they know best what they need. So, as knowing best what our community needs, we should be the best at creating those institutions for those, again, particular purposes. But Mr. Garvey says when the Negro does not have his own, um, we're not living in proper accordance with the purpose for which nature made us. Is everybody clear with that? But basically, it's going against our nature and our purpose. We're not here just to, allow others to create for us. Questions, comments? When the Negro does not have his own. Next question, what does physiognomy mean and why is it significant to us as a people? And this is not, the word physiognomy is in the text. So Mr. Garvey says, next paragraph, your entire physiognomy is different from other people. But what does physiognomy mean? And I don't know if I got something on the next question. What does physiognomy mean and why is it significant to us as a people?
Physiognomy is your features.
Mm-hmm. And why is it significant in this lesson? Physiognomy is your physical features. Okay. Go to the book. Well, Mr. Garvey is always the best source for his information, so we will go directly to the source. Your entire physiognomy is different from other people's. Your hair is woolly, your nose is broad, your lips are thick, and so this difference must also be intended in your outlook and in your viewpoint on life. Anyone who tells you the contrary is a liar, fraud, and in fact, an enemy to you and to nature. Um, Everybody clear? Well, I mean, the next paragraph talks to that. In this human world of confusion, never let anyone tell you that although of different races, you are one. If you were one, God would have made you so because he is not a deceiver. The Ethiopian is speaking of as being different. Even in the scripture, it is said that he cannot change his skin. That is what it means. It is a fair assumption that others may change their skins, but the Ethiopian, who is the Negro, the black man, but not the Ethiopian. What does this mean? What is Mr. Garvey communicating with these paragraphs about physiognomy and differences?
Basically, we shouldn't be ashamed of our differences, and it was purposeful for God to create our differences. Therefore, it should be purposeful for us to be able to separate ourselves and be able to make it our duty to represent ourselves.
Yes, yeah, in a sense, yeah, you're right. God made us a particular people, and that's obvious in our physiognomy. So for us to create institutions and organizations and societies to address those specific needs is our God-given right. But he also says, if God wanted us all to be the same color or hair texture, God could have done that. But God chose to make us different. So why not embrace these differences and for us, adhere to and make sure we're benefiting our group specifically. Any questions or comments on that? But again, this is purpose of institutions. We must be clear that our institutions must be designed to benefit our people. Physical features, we are different from other races. If we were one, God would have made us one. Okay, now we're going into some history coming out of institution. I think what is this lesson? This section called the world, or I think war. Is this war? Oh no, we're not. Okay, that's another lesson. Where does the white man come from, according to Mr. Garvey?
Yakub.
I don't know if he used that word in the text or that name.
Caves, right? So you said caves.
Yes. What about Cain?
He was the evil murderer, and that they've been murdering since the beginning of time. So he said,
Well, we should know the story of Cain and Abel, but according to Mr. Garvey in the lesson, let's just go to the lesson. We don't have to misrepresent Mr. Garvey. Let's see. Okay, he starts here. He says the white man is Cain transformed, hence his career of murder from Cain to Mussolini. It is evident and fair assumption that when Cain ran away and disappeared from the neighborhood of his parents and journeyed afar, he built up a new race, living in the same country but far away. And in the process of time in Africa, where all this happened, the Negro race through Adam and Eve continued their multiplication. And as it spread itself in the development of a civilization, it came suddenly upon the settlement of Cain. And knowing Cain's history of blood, ran the entire race from the neighborhood across the Mediterranean to Europe. The white race of Cain hid in caves for centuries. Therefore, the white skin became fixed because most of the time they were hidden from the light, hence the white man as the European. Again, we're not asking anyone to necessarily agree with this, but just understand Mr. Garvey's position. Mr. Garvey, according to his teachings, he felt that Cain was the progenitor of the white race. Questions or comments on Cain? We just talked about how Cain's family got to Europe, is ran out by Adam and Eve to Europe across the Mediterranean and lived in caves.
I like to call them Caints and Abel.
Yeah,
They
but he
can't be
was
able.
banished to Nod, which was already inhabited, but it didn't say where it actually was.
Yeah, like I said, yeah.
And it was just supposed to be Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel on Earth, but when he got to Nod, it was already inhabited because that's where he found a wife.
Right. Yeah,
So yeah, that's a whole nother story there.
that's a deeper one. Okay, well, I think I feel like this should be the end of it. Oh no, it's not. Okay. Thought this was the next lesson. Next question. The world is only part of the universe. What previous lesson used an example of a unit compared to a universal? A unit compared to a infinite.
I know it was about man's intelligence. It was a unitary compared to God's infinite intelligence, and that was that in intelligence though? Was it in? And
You're close enough. Anybody help him? Right there. It's lesson 5. Shoot, I ain't even got it up there. It's lesson 5, God. But yes, Garvey used the comparison of man has unitary intelligence compared to God's universal intelligence. And then in this lesson, he compared the world. He said the world is a unit of the universe, and then the universe is obviously the entire universe itself. So making that correlation, that comparative correlation. Okay, next question. Who or what rules the world? And through what? Oh, wait. Well, who or what rules the world is the first question. And through what? How is lordship acquired? Who or what rules the world is the first question.
intelligence rules the world. Ignorance carries the burden.
I think that's pretty straightforward. How is lordship acquired?
By mastering intelligence.
Uh, Anybody else? I'm looking in the book. Looks like going after not claiming our rightful share is how we would lose our lordship. Um, but I'm pretty sure intelligence was the answer to the first question. Man is made of matter. Man is made of mind and matter. Matter is manifest through nature. It is mind, and mind is the connecting link with the spirit of God. The highest mind in the world is the mind of man, in that it is the spirit of God, giving the mind free will to act through the soul. The soul is mind as well as the feeling of heart is soul and mind. The explanation of this is as intricate as the Holy Trinity. Um, okay, there it is. As God rules the universe and all matter and mind, so man, through his mind, also intelligence, rules the world over which he is Lord. So man rules the world through his mind, and that puts him in a position of lordship. The whole world then belongs to man. Each man should get his appropriate or proportionate share. That's what Mr. Garvey is saying. Each man should get his appropriate or proportionate share. He says that when in a lifetime he fails to do this, he fails to get his appropriate or proportionate share, he naturally fails to lift himself up to his lordship. So we relinquish our lordship when we don't claim our proper share. One man's dispossession of his lordship enthrones another man's sovereignty over him. Hence, a ruling man and a serving man, a ruling race and a serving race. So, Mr. Garvey is saying that we as a race have not claimed our proper portion, and we've allowed others to have lordship over us. Questions, comments? Man rules the world through his mind. What happens when man fails to lift himself up to his lordship? One man's dispossession of his lordship enthrones another man's sovereignty over him. So, if we don't claim our own, someone will claim it for us, and we will work for them to claim a piece of what they have. Next question. There is no other rival but who? Who is the only rival?
Self.
Would think that, but I think he's south
Or
side.
ignorance.
That's a good one too. But I think Mr. Garvey here is Dr. Kuda.
Your fellow man is your only rival.
Yeah. In this lesson, Mr. Garvey says there is no other rival but your fellow man. Never allow your fellow man to rise higher than you, otherwise he will make you his slave. I would argue this is in regards to, material possession. We're talking about our proper apportionment in this world. So if there's, 100 people and 100 shares, um, our rival are those other people. And if we don't claim our proper share, then somebody will get more than their share, and we would have to, work for them to obtain some of their share, if that makes sense.
And also, President, I like to add too, not just material, but also in knowledge and wisdom.
Okay.
Always be, knowledgeable
Fine.
of whatever that you're doing, so that you don't, like that, race first.
Yes, first, Brother Mason, you were coming through. Yeah, absolutely. Acquisition of knowledge as well. That's very true. That's a prerequisite to material possessions a lot of time. So we have to claim ours and, create institutions to continue to promote ours. What one things determine if the world will destroy you or if the world will serve you obediently? Dr. Kuda.
Understanding and knowing the world thoroughly
So
will help you in knowing.
Back to the intelligence. If you do not use the world well by understanding it, it will destroy you through its matter and through its mind. If you treat the world well by knowing it thoroughly, the world will serve you obediently. So back to knowledge and acquiring, possessing knowledge. That's always been our foundation. It's lesson one. What should you do when you discover knowledge and no one else knows about it?
Always be on your throne.
Dr. What I see you got your hand up?
Okay, as much as for me, I don't fully agree with Gavi's opinion on this one. He says that you must keep it and use it for the good of yourself and your race. Okay, in a way, I do agree with this philosophy. I recall my father, as I was growing up, my father always said, when you have some knowledge or information of something, don't share it, keep it to yourself.
Mhm.
And I still struggle with that. I believe we need to share our knowledge and information with our race.
Yes, and I would argue that's yes, I agree, but I think institutions would be the proper path of doing that. When we some methods of some methods can be less productive and can kind of you're giving information to individuals that already have a lot of information, so it can kind of show our hand to some extent.
I think the only part that I don't feel comfortable with is when Honorable Garvey says keep it. Okay, yes, I understand. Maybe there's two ways to it. Keep it, don't lose it. But at the same time, keep it in memory, but share it at the same time. Impart your knowledge and skills to your fellow race, brothers and sisters.
Okay, let me see. So I got it on page listed on page 106. Go on no arrival. Oh, always feels matter. In the throne, prerogative, the right. Knowledge is everywhere. Okay, yeah. Knowledge is everywhere. It is hidden. Search for it, and when you discover it, and no one else knows about it, keep it and use it for the good of yourself and your race. I agree with that 100%. It's specifically for our race. So I think when we start talking about finding new knowledge and quickly sharing it with other races, that's when it becomes a problem. Any questions on this before we proceed? First duty in the world is to who? Straightforward. Dr. Kuda.
The first duty
Well, this is straightforward, I don't think.
is actually to yourself first, and then your immediate family, and then to the race, and then lastly to the racial nations.
That's not the last one. There was one more after that.
And can someone help me there, please?
It says, then worship God absolutely and thank him for all. So the order Mr. Garvey gives first, your first duty in the world is to yourself, your family, your race, and your racial nation. He says, then worship God absolutely and thank him for all.
Well, that's the main one. Then worship God absolutely and thank him for all. Thank you.
Well, yeah. Okay. I think it's clear. Why should we strive to be self-sufficient? After all that we just talked about, why should we strive to be self-sufficient? Dr. Kuda?
We should strive to be self-sufficient to prevent being dependent on the goodwill of others. For sufficiency, for our own sufficiency, we shouldn't depend on the goodwill of others. No one will give away value that is wanted for self. So we should have to serve and become servants or slaves to our own sufficiency. We've got to do it for ourselves.
Yes. Any questions on that? Always try to be self-sufficient in yourself where it is possible. Seek that self-sufficiency in your racial relation, comradeship, or in your race. Always see to it that your race is self-sufficient. That means that everything you want must be obtainable in your race as far as human relationship will permit. If we are not individually self-sufficient or cooperative in your racial relations or self-sufficient in your race as a whole, you will have to go outside of yourself for that sufficiency, which will make you absolutely dependent on the goodwill of others for your sufficiency. Dr. Kuda?
I agree with the Honorable Gavi in this point, but the world we're living in today is different to the times when they were living. We pay taxes, and we are struggling. We also need to get our share from the taxes that are being paid for us to also do our duties as stewardship for the nations. So, but yes, I understand the point is clear, but we're struggling. We need resources, and from the taxes that we ourselves pay. We also need to get funds from there to do things that we need to uplift our race. Just a thought.
I understand. Um, but our goals should not be dependence, or our goal should be self-sufficiency.
Absolutely. But they've stripped so much of us that it's so hard to become self-sufficient to that level where the world is today, President John. So we got to also be, strategic into how we get back on our feet. But I understand, yes, we need to be self-sufficient. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, yes. Thank you, Dr. Kuda. Excellent answer.
President John, may I ask a question? So what's the difference between being self-sufficient and independent? Your opinion?
Those I don't see a difference in those.
Oh, okay. Thought you said we need to be self-sufficient instead of first.
Yeah. Self-sufficient, self-reliant, independent. If we are able to produce the resources that are required for our sustainability, as well as our productivity and growth, that's self-sufficient, that's independent. We control it, we defend it. Our survival is on us. That's independence. Okay, that's the last question for institutions. Any questions on anything that we went over? Yeah, that's the last thing is, yep, reminding us to be self-sufficient. So no one will, and as Dr. Kuda was saying, no one will give away value that is wanted for self. So you will have to serve and become servants or slaves to sufficiency. Never wait on another man's pocketbook. Use your own, because he may never show up. He may die on the way, and your wait will be too long. So we must strive for independence, self-sufficiency, self-reliance, and we practice that through the ultimate form of self-reliance, self-governance.
But President John, on that very point, please could you bring it back?
Yes.
Right now, I know we are learning Garvey's philosophy here, but how come our leaders don't practice this? They're giving away our gold and diamonds and platinum in Africa, and our people in Africa are struggling. I think we should take this to go teach our leaders in Africa.
Oh, okay. You talking about African leaders? You had me nervous for a second.
Yes.
Well,
Why don't they know the stuff?
well, hold on. Let's slow
This very part you just read.
I'm sure there are African leaders that are promoting and speaking on self-reliance, and independence. Um, so I can't say, obviously we're Garveyites, and we definitely want to spread this message and bring this message to our brothers and sisters on the continent. I was just saying, we may hear a lot of the negativity, but there's still some positive leaders on the continent that are promoting these ideals, and some of them, unfortunately, been assassinated in the process, like Patrice Lumumba or Thomas Sankara, among others.
Thank you, President John. Yes, at least that does help me understand. Yeah, and we have young upcoming leaders like Traore
Yep.
who realize that the masses of the people need to be taken care of first before letting the resources go out to France and where not, when your own people are struggling.
Jomo Kenyatta, Julius Nyerere, our
Yeah.
namesake. So there are examples. I think the approach that I take from Garvey is organization. All of these regions and nation states are still divided, and some are still under colonial rule, and we still know that there's corruption. But I would argue organization, in my opinion, I think helps prevent corruption. It doesn't completely absolve the ability for individuals to be corrupt, but if we have a relationship, if we have a way of holding each other responsible and accountable, I think personally that limits corruption a little bit. Whereas, opposed to it, there's no checks and balances. I think that kind of promotes corruption.
I fully agree with you. Organization is key. Thank you, President John, for the response.
Great questions. All right, 9:20. We need to run through these lessons. We were actually supposed to read two lessons tonight, but lesson 13 is pretty short. I hope it's yet. Oh crap. Just yes, it's still kind of short. So yeah, we need to go ahead and get started. Brother Mason, will you be helping read?
Gotcha, President John.
All right. We'll try to get through 13 and 14. Brother Mason, you have the floor.
Lesson 13, the universe. No man yet knows the riddle of the universe. It has been an eternal puzzle. Men in their searching desires are aiming at unraveling the mysteries behind it. It contains universal knowledge beyond the knowledge of our world. If man can succeed in identifying the facts of the majority of units in the universe, he approaches a greater degree of knowledge than those who confine themselves only to the investigation of things terrestrial. The greater minds of our world have experimented and are experimenting in their desire to grapple with all the facts that sustain the universe. No one knows if man will be permitted to enter into the mysterious realms of knowledge, but it is the duty of man to stretch his imagination afield and gather for himself as much information as is naturally possible. Therefore, never rest with your limited knowledge of the world, but seek to find other knowledge with which you may be able to lift yourself far above that which has been attained or accomplished by man. In the universe, there are mysteries which may be mathematically or scientifically measured and reduced to the concept of the human mind. Let your mind reach out then to the grappling of these mysteries by an approach based upon reasons. As man before you discovered many things, gravitation, the fixed position of the stars, the regular movements of planets, and such heretofore hidden facts, you may in the search find out new truths upon which your race and civilization might climb to the highest pinnacle. Therefore, always carry an observant eye and an analytical mind. You may suddenly stumble upon some truth for which your world is waiting. It doesn't matter who the person is when he has discovered the truth for which mankind is in need of or searching for. He becomes a hero and an immortal. Try to grasp at immortality by leaving behind a never-dying name because of the exceptional things you have been able to perceive and discover through the hidden mirror of universality. If you can see visions and dreams and make your visions and dreams true, you may focus the facts and the truths beyond your immediate reach by measuring them with your sublime knowledge. Find the cause to justify the effect. The effect is visible everywhere, but the cause is generally hidden. Follow the lines by degrees until you approach the start, the beginning, the source. Never stop halfway, but go right through. If you have good grounds to believe that there is something beyond, if there's a mountain, it is suggestive that there is a valley behind it. Don't rest with the mountain because you see it. Search for the valley because there may be much hidden there. Never cease studying the ideas or the facts that may lead you to a definite conclusion. The things of this world have become common because most of them have been revealed as far as we know. but there are uncommon things even on this earth, and much so in the universe, that we may search after and make use of as we make use of the things today brought to us through the probing genius of other men who saw the need for more and searched for it and brought it to mankind. Edison saw the need for more light and he brought more brilliant electricity. Stevenson saw the need for more speed and he brought the rapid moving engine with his steam. Fulton saw the need for more river transportation and quicker speed and he brought his steamboat. Harvey saw the need for conquering the mysteries of the human system and revealed the circulatory system. Observe well and see what mankind needs most in addition to what they have and try to bring it to them. That is the way you stand out in immortality as these. Scroll up, President John. Scroll up, President John. As these men do stand out amongst us today, even though they are dead and some of them have been dead for ages. If I could lie down and dream out of my subconscious mind the dream of life and find its source in a more direct way, how much more could I tell about life to astound and convince men of what life is? It is the dreamer, the subconscious manipulator who sees things by looking through the mental darkness. Therefore, see things for yourself and see then in a way that mysterious universe. It is said that God is behind the universe. No man has ever seen God. Suppose you, like Christ, could see God. What a wonder and amazement. Christ saw God behind the universe as man. Christ was an object lesson to man's glorification and knowledge. Therefore, if you approach thought with its deepest sublimity, you may see as much as Christ saw when he saw God. It is thought that created the universe. It is thought that will master the universe. Man must therefore use his thought to the limit to get the best result from the universe. No thinking, no knowledge. Proper thinking may lead you suddenly into the conquest of that which heretofore was mysterious. If man can think most excellently, then he climbs in that excellence to the companionship of the most excellent. As he climbs in his excellence to the most excellent, he shall not be presuming, but he shall be taking himself up to the most excellent, that which in other unit was not excellent. And like the dutiful servant who used the talents of that servant who had hid his and was ultimately deprived of it for the benefit of the servant who used his because he could appreciate the gift. Man in his excellence lifts himself highest to God by his mental industry, and the man who has no mental industry forfeits that mentality to the useful servant who climbs in his excellence to the most excellent. Brush away the cobwebs of your mind and see the universe as looking through a crystal, because beyond you, all is bright and beautiful. The darkness is in you. See the light. We want knowledge to lighten our darkness. Bring down the light and knowledge into your soul and flash it through your mind like the spark from the thunderbolt, and all creation will ignite in one glorious illumination, and you will pass through the mysteries of the universe with the knowledge and eyes of God. If I could dream my life into eternity and come back with wisdom, should I not have the surpassing knowledge of my fellows? Then why not seek it, since it is therefore man's to seek out and possess himself of it? It is when you can reach up to it that you approach God's elevation, not in rivalry of God, but as coming to God, of whom you were always a part. But for the darkness of our own soul, illumine the soul and God's brilliancy, and will be revealed as it was revealed to Christ when the halo surrounded his head. He was declared the begotten Son of God, in whom God was well pleased. What a world of unfurlment. What a universe of expectation to which man in his sublimity may climb. Why not be the first soul outside of Christ to climb in that sublimity to the most excellent? The Greek philosophers suggest to the Greek youth that he should know himself. Across the temple of Delphi was written these words: "Man, know thyself, but I may add also, man, know thyself, and man, know the universe, and man, know your God." In searching for this knowledge, you may stumble upon the truth, a revelation that may lead you up to the heights of glory, to be known as the greatest soul that fathoms the depths and reaches the heights.
Thank you, Brother Macy's. We'll read lesson 14 as well. Brief comment on 13. Um, it's a stretch, it's a call to stretch our imagination. Um, Let me see. There was a line that kind of summarized it real well. Here we go. If man can think most excellently, then he climbs in that excellence to the companionship of the most excellent. So that kind of summarizes this lesson, stretching our thinking, stretching our imagination, and not thinking on what terrestrial level, not thinking what the common man and woman are maybe concerned or distracted with. Okay, Brother Mason. Lesson 14, self-initiative. Very important lesson. Yeah, we're gonna read this. This when it comes to leadership, when it comes to autonomy, delegation, this lesson is extremely important. If we understand this lesson very well, then our need for direction becomes a little bit less. We still kind of need to make sure we're on the same page with everybody in leadership, but it teaches us not necessarily to wait for someone to tell us that something needs to be done. With that, Brother Macius, could you please help us with lesson 14?
Lesson 14, self-initiative. Every man is his own responsibility in life. Nature never made anyone dually, but singly. Therefore, you have your single responsibility. The purpose of life is to live fully. Hence, the single life must be complete. And in fact, it is so with every man. Therefore, it is the duty of every man to fall back on himself for what he wants. It is necessary for a man to use all of his faculties for his own protection. He always has a reserve of self-expression and action upon which to fall to protect and defend himself. Therefore, he must develop his faculties to do things thoroughly for himself. He must rely upon himself first for initiating all those things that may contribute to his personal well-being. Whatever he wants to do should first come from himself, that he should know what is best for himself. Advice may be helpful, but only to the extent that you have reason and judgment enough to see the value of the advice. Otherwise, it may be harmful. Very few people, if any, who advise others do so completely honestly. Generally, they advise with a motive for which the individual must pay the price, whatever that price may be. Therefore, the best individual policies should be that the individual develop in himself or herself the courage to do things on his or her own account, always counting the cost in benefits or bad results. The person who fails to be true to himself in taking the initiative to do things for himself will ultimately find out that he or she has been a sucker for others. Always surround yourself with the talent of being able to do by yourself so as not to be too dependent. The person who has to depend on others is not himself. A person who has to depend on others is not himself or herself, but the subject of others. A subject or a medium is apt to break under the influence of the controlling factor. As for instance, a hypnotist who has a controlling factor may so hypnotize his subject as to cause the subject to lose his or her mind. Therefore, try to never be the subject mentally of a factor. because a factor may destroy your opportunity for self-reliance and self-initiative. Always maintain a strong will and emphasize a strong will even more when from the first reasonable judgments you come to the conclusion that you are right. To come to that conclusion, you must have the facts before you in your mind. If your facts are as good as is known and could possibly be gathered on the particular thing on which a decision is to be based, then don't allow anyone but God Almighty to alter your will, because your will is your decision, and your decision is your intelligence, and your intelligence is your personality, and your personality is your self-confidence and your initiative. Always try to help yourself. Only when you are completely satisfied that you do not have the ability, knowledge, character, and strength to do for yourself should you call anyone to help you. When you ask others to help you or over anything, be sure that they are your very, 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 very good friends or relatives. Because if the thing you ask them to help you out of may be valuable to you and would be of valuable to others, they may take the value for themselves, and all that you will get for calling in someone else is to do something for you that you should do for yourself is disappointment. You will have the sad experience of learning how bad man is to rob his fellow of their rights. Anything on earth that is of value to you is of interest to the other person. If you have a good idea, try to develop it yourself and master it yourself before you ask for help. For at best, you will have to at least share the results with those who help. Fear God and know no other fear. There is a God. No man can say that there is no God, because no man is like God. Man is limited in his intelligence at the most, and man knows how insufficient he is between life and death. That is, he is born without his knowledge and dies without his will or wish, when his birth and death must logically and naturally be controlled by someone else. It could not be man, because man is always man, whether he is a big man or a small man. So power that gives birth and causes death must be greater than man's power. Whatever that power is, it must be an absolute power. Some men call it by different names, but they all mean the same thing, and it is God. Therefore, when man says there is no God, he is a fool, for he is not as great as God. Join no one in saying that there is no God, and join no man in saying he is God, for it is blasphemy. Fear God, but love God. If you love God, you need not fear God, for God is with you, and you are part of him in your good. You fear God only when you are conscious of being evil or wicked. You love God and work with God while you are good. There is nothing in this world that you should fear otherwise, for everything in this world is subject to you as man. Never fear man, but understand man so as to escape the wrath of man and master man. Man is vicious, man is wicked, and you must know that he is. By knowing that he is wicked, you are able to handle him without fearing him. Meet the stare of a man with your stare. Never cringe before the stare of a man, otherwise he masters you. Develop enough courage, character, boldness, and self-confidence to look any man in the face and hold your ground. The first time you take your eyes off of him because of his stare, he conquers you because you are unprepared. Look him straight in the eye, keep him covered with your eye, and let him bow and walk off, not you. This is the way man conquers a lion or a wild beast, by staring it in the eye. The moment he takes his eyes off, the beast will spring upon him. The daring look of man conquers man. The self-confidence of man conquers man. The strong character of man conquers man. The conqueror is the fellow with the boldest and longest stare. He hypnotizes his victim and walks over him like a worm. Never be a worm. Try to never be obligated, for if you are obligated to a man, you cannot stare him to obedience. You will have to bow.
before him because he has a grip on you. Try then to be free from all obligations to any man and thus always be yourself. God is pleased when man lifts himself to his true position in his kingdom of earth and heaven. Look to God. Ask him for strength. Ask him for courage and righteousness, and you will be able to battle in the world of men. Don't ask him for wealth, but ask him for wisdom, as Solomon did, and he will open up to you the greater knowledge of goodness if you are good in your approach to him through prayer for wisdom. You ask God for wisdom and understanding. You have everything else because with wisdom and understanding, you will be able to take care of yourself. Therefore, never pray to God for particular things, for individual things. He has already given all that is necessary for your existence in creation, and he has placed you as Lord and Master over them. Then why worry him in further praying for these things? It is a waste of time. It's annoying. It is disgusting to God if God can be disgusted. Seek ye first wisdom and understanding, and all life will unfurl itself to you through God. The mind and the soul are the receptacles of understanding and wisdom. Cleanse them with protection and approach the source who giveth them, and you shall be eternally blessed. The angels of heaven, the good spirit from earth, and the other planets who have passed through their probation of original life. No man on earth is an angel. The angels are spirits, not men.
Thank you, Brother Macy's. Great job. Got through those timely. Um, those are the last two lessons for what I consider phase two, lesson 13 and 14. So when we come back next week, we'll be in the third phase, the final phase, where we're starting to look at preparing ourselves to go out into the world. But lessons 8 through 14, outside of universe, because that's, very broad. We're looking at society, our community, our immediate neighborhoods and cities. So in the last section, 15 through 21 or 22, it's a world program, a world approach. So I don't have anything else. Y'all got any questions or comments before we close out? Thank you, Brother Macias, again.
I got a comment on the reading.
Yes, Brother Moyama.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it just reminded me of an old. Actually, it was a joke that what's the guy name? Got a comedian name. But anyway, when the last part of the reading talking about not asking God for specific things,
Oh,
but
yeah.
asking for character, strength, etc.
Yes,
It
sir.
reminded me. What's that guy? I forgot his name. Anyway, but comedian once had a talk about the divine plan, and that God has already laid out what is going to be long before we've seen it. Or as one poet said, in the river of timelessness, we was, is already. Everything's already happened. It's going to happen. So why put up your little, he said, I think he said any schmuck with a $2 plan is going to just pray for this and pray for that and ruin the whole divine plan just because he wants something that he don't even know what he wants or understands what he really asking for. Then why would God mess his plan up for you? So stop praying for silly things and thinking, why didn't I get it? It's kind of ignorant when you look at it from a certain perspective. But yeah, understanding that there's a greater plan in motion. People used to say, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So, in some sense, yeah, we don't need to keep praying for God, give me some money. God, give me, this or a girlfriend or something. We just need to pray whatever life brings our way, that we had the strength and conviction and everything we need to overcome and enjoy what we can enjoy and that kind of thing. So anyway, it's a simple enough point, but I just thought it was interesting that he would make sure his leaders in the association understood something fundamental, but profoundly, but fundamental as small as that, but significant enough at the same time. But I can't forget the guy name. He was an atheist comedian, a white guy. George Carlin, that's his name.
Oh, George
Yeah,
Carlin. Yeah, that's
yeah,
my man.
yeah. He's vicious.
That's my dad's favorite comedian right there.
Oh yeah. He was one of the best. Him and Richard back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they held it down.
I
But yeah.
still watch some of George's stuff now. Like man, it's whew, I didn't understand him as a child. It's kind of scary, like the stuff he be talking about.
Oh yeah. He thinks it out far in advance. Yeah, absolutely.
But in
Yeah,
that
that's
time,
mhm.
it still rings true. It's like goodness gracious, he was definitely on something, onto something, rather.
Oh
So.
yeah.
But yeah, just to recap what you were saying, that paragraph here, I think it summarized best. If you ask God for wisdom and understanding, you have everything else because with wisdom and understanding, you will be able to take care of yourself. Therefore, never pray to God for particular things, for individual things. He has already given all the necessary for your existence in creation, and He has placed you as Lord and Master over them. Then why worry Him in further praying for these things? So, expanding, stretching our thinking, even to the aspect of prayers. Are we praying for trinkets and cars and clothes, or are we praying for wisdom, strength, courage, and direction and the ability to carry out that direction that we are given?
Mhm.
Great point, brother Moyama. Anyone else? Any other points? We closing a little bit early tonight. Been a productive evening.
Yeah, I can mention we had a great program in Baltimore, by the way.
I heard about that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
meant to congratulate you. Yeah, I saw some pictures.
yeah. It was a good program, good film. Everybody came out nice size, and Brother Everett spoke, and I spoke, and Brother
Holding.
Stephen Golden. Yeah, so the minister had a good time. He gave us a heck of a preaching, but
Ah!
good old Black liberation speech. But he was a pro Garvey guy himself. So
Hmm.
the church was the one of the early founders of the church. The second pastor was James Robert Lincoln Diggs, who was at one time assistant chaplain general of the UNIA.
Wow.
So he's the one that married Mr. Garvey and Amy Jakes. So anyway, it was kind of a historic, coming back to a place where Mr. Garvey spoke years ago. Um, yeah. So anyway, it's always good to come back and reestablish links with the institutions we once partnered with in a heyday of the movement.
I saw some pictures. I was happy to, see everybody in the building together. So that was very encouraging.
And greetings to everybody else in the group tonight, by the way, too.
We're gonna do a roll call.
Greetings, Brother Moriama.
Okay, brothers and sisters, 9:47, 9:48. If we don't have anything, we'll close out. Officers should know we first Wednesday is tomorrow, so we're supposed to be having a call tomorrow evening for the president. So be on the lookout for that. I haven't gotten that message, but be on the lookout and please make yourselves available if possible tomorrow. Business meeting Thursday, and we got some programs. Mass meeting Sunday, Constitution program Saturday. A busy week. All right, brothers and sisters. Not gonna hold y'all. Brother Macy's, would you do us the honor closing us out? Brother Art, you want to do us the honor? Close us out. Brother Macy may be tied up. But he hear me.
Race first.
Race
Race
first.
first. Everybody raise your right fist in the air
Yes, sir.
and repeat after me. One God.
One
One
God,
God,
One aim.
One
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 aim,
aim,
Name.
one destiny.
One
One
destiny.
destiny.
Africa
Africa.
Africa.
for the Africans.
To the
For the
Africans.
Africans,
Those at home
Those at
those
home.
home,
and those abroad.
and
Those
those
abroad.
abroad.
Race first, family.
Race
Race
first.
Race
first.
first.
You better, all right. Stop sharing.